Yeah, thanks, Nico. Yeah, look, a Wednesday night game here on turf. You know, with the busy schedule that we have, the plan was to rotate. And trust our depth, and had five guys that will keep fresh legs for the rest of the week here. Part of the plan was executed well to get to halftime with a zero. That meant a Charlotte team, that is desperate to get into the playoffs, has to start to throw bodies forward. So I think the plan worked, obviously, until we conceded. Ideally, we're going to bring, Mikel and Julian right at that 55 to 60 minutes to help us change the game. Charlotte makes a play. We lose one again, and we lose a ball in a bad spot, and they make us pay. It goes to 2-0, but the guys showed look, a lot of character and guts, and in some ways, making the playoffs, which I believe we've clinched. Used to be, I'll just say, a big celebration from this group, but it's not anymore, which I think is a good thing in the shift in the mentality of the group. With 6 games left, to be already in the playoffs now is a good thing. But this group obviously wants more. We want to finish top 4 and push as much as we can to get as many home games as possible. But overall, a point on the road is always important. Dealing with the elements, the turf, the different things that go into it, some mistakes that we made. Overall, we'll take the point and get out of here.
Thanks, Jim. Matt to George.
Hey, Jim, you talked about it briefly, but how well do you think the 2 changes up top worked? It seemed like Chris and Ty did a lot of running. How well would you assess how that worked?
Yeah, look, the message was we need intensity to start the game because, again, we're playing against a desperate team, which is always hard. So we told them if you can only go for 45 minutes, it's got to be at your max, run around and make it hard on Charlotte. They're still getting used to playing with each other, obviously, but there's a couple dangerous moments where I think on the one, Chris maybe could lift the ball over the goalkeeper, maybe even dribble around the goalkeeper who was out high. Some flicks where Ty ran off them and with some decent actions. But overall, yeah, they worked hard, emptied the tank, and helped us, did 2 things. Helped us get, through the first 55 minutes, but also, preserve some legs. And now there's a decent bit of rotation now where we can get guys in a rhythm of playing this busy schedule that we have, where we now go Saturday against the great LAFC team, then quickly against Dallas, and then against the good Columbus team as well. So it gets real busy, but it sets up okay now. Where if you guys can think about it, we'll have fresh legs along the back line with Elliott, with a Harriel. You're able to save guys' legs in midfield and also the striker. So that's a good thing.
And you talked about clinching a playoff berth. I wonder how you communicate to some of the guys that maybe didn't live through some of the things you did the first 4 years that you were here, just how important this is to be in with 6 games to go. I know it's a larger playoff field now, but does that feel significant?
Yeah, I think it's a good shift in mentality at the club. And I just jokingly said it. So there's a bunch of guys in there just quietly looking at their phones with their jerseys off in there. And I just reminded them, and look, some of them weren't here when this was the case, but at this club back then, in the early days, Matt, from you were there too. There used to be champagne and beers flowing after a playoff clinch, and now it's, when I say nothing, you can walk in there and it's crickets, and they're mad that we didn't get a win. So that's a good change in mentality. Still 6 games left to play, and we're going to push. You see how tight it is in the East. It's going to be a fight. So this point, matters in a big way.
Joe Tanzi.
Hey, Jim. How important was Quinn's involvement right away off the bench tonight?
Yeah, really good. And we've had different discussions, myself and Quinn. Positionally, what's his best spot? And he feels it's midfield, which is fair, and it's good. During the year when we had a really, really crowded midfield this season, obviously that's changed a little bit now with injuries with Leon and obviously Perea moving on. I thought his minutes would be more as a striker, and we talked through that. He got some opportunities, probably not as many as he wanted, but it was good to see him on the side of the diamond make a play, make a big play for us and I also helped set up the second one as well. So did a really good job. That's what we need from all of our players to come in and make an impact. I say it all the time, whether you get 90 minutes, 45, or 2 at the end of the game, you have to execute your role, and those minutes will come. So he did a great job.
Do you see him now fitting into that midfield rotation now that you have 4 fit and available strikers?
I think it's more natural now, just because numbers wise that it makes sense. And like I mentioned, the players that aren't with us right now. Jose picked up another little knock tonight. You have Leon obviously with some treatment. Hopefully he can come back soon, but you never know with that. Sports hernia they're tricky. And then obviously Andres getting loaned out, that opens up and clears some spots for him. And he took advantage of his opportunity tonight, which was nice to see.
Jose Nunez.
Hi, James. Congratulations on another playoff clinch. You answered my question about Jose. Hopefully it's not too serious. And secondly, can we expect that type of rotation again in terms of this many bodies shifting over to the LAFC match? Obviously, you're having a quick clip of games here.
Yeah, look, the natural ones are the ones you guys can already probably piece together. Jack Elliott missing tonight with a red card. He'll naturally step in and spell one of our center backs. You have the Nathan Harriel and Mbaizo, I think, have in a really healthy way, rotated and stayed fresh and have given us good performances, both of them, which is really important. That midfield depth where Bueno's now evolved a bit. We're getting Ollie back fully fit and going. Gazdag's the one that we've Gazdag and Kai are the two that I would say have the most mileage, and Jacob have the most mileage on their legs. So we have to be smart in that regard. But those guys, have been able to manage that load over time. This is I believe our 42nd game, Jose. So we're in uncharted territory ourselves, so this is new for all of us. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge for LAFC too, right? They play a St. Louis team, for first place tonight. They have us, and then sandwiched in between that, they have us sandwiched in between the Campeones Cup too. So there's no easy road for anybody. So I don't use it as an excuse, but we have to make smart changes. And look, 45 minutes for these guys, or 55 is basically a training session. So guys like Ure and Carranza will be fully ready to go. For this big game against LAFC. So they'll have to do a little extra running for Danny, is the nice way to put it, So they share the load well, and we'll do okay.
You mentioned Bedoya. How is he feeling after some substantial minutes for the first time in a little bit here, playing 60 some and change, I guess?
Good, yeah. If you rewind to the Red Bull game, it was a shame because he played such a great game. Then the silly yellow card makes him have to sit, so that rhythm kind of gets lost. So we built up to 60 plus today. When it went to 2-0, I proactively decided to take him out and give another person an opportunity in there. And it wound up working out. But in doing that too, you save his legs a little bit. So I think he'll be able to turn around and deal with the second game now in the week. And he's not going to want to miss this LA game. That's for sure.
Thank you, Jim. Safe travels.
Thanks.
Thiago Brandão.
Hi, Coach. Good evening. Thiago Brandão from Território MLS Brasil. The team managed to secure a draw in stoppage time after trailing by 2 goals. How important do you think the mental aspect was in today's game?
Very important. It's a huge part of our game. Look, our players have a strong mentality. I think our players have a lot of heart, and I think that they're good representation of the city of Philadelphia. I think there's no coincidence there that our guys in that locker room play to the final whistle. There's no quit in them. Did we play a great game tonight? Absolutely not. But we stuck with things and continued to push. And if you do that and you're honest and you push till the 90th minute and beyond, I tend to think you get rewarded in the sport of soccer. It can be a cruel game, but I think it rewards hard work and that strong mentality that you mentioned. I think our players have that, and I think that our fans see that as well, and we're never out of a game.
Lewis.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Nico. Congrats, Jim, for clinching again another playoff spot. I noticed the strikers, whether it be Chris Donovan, Ty, or Mikel and Julian, the touches were down significantly compared to games in the past. Was that something that Charlotte was doing, or was that something that you guys came in here saying, hey, we're going to just continue playing these long balls over the top?
Yeah, Charlotte is a possession based team. They love to have the ball. As you guys have heard me say, we're okay with that. There's some, their head coach comes from Man City, so the ideas of Guardiola, well, I'll just say, very hard to replicate with without I'll just say the resources that Guardiola has at his disposal. The ideas and the principles are the same as Man City. So you see wing backs coming inside. You see wingers sometimes dropping low. You see deep runs from midfield. So it is unique and difficult to play against because they spread you out. They like to pass the ball. So yeah, naturally our forwards aren't going to be involved as much. We're not really a possession team. Occasionally we'll knock the ball around for stretches, but overall we're okay. I'm sure the numbers would say they had probably 60. We probably had 40 to maybe high 30s in terms of possession. But at the end of the day, an ugly point on the road is okay.
And then what's the message to Chris after that good hold-up play tonight, combination play with his teammates, good runs into the channel, had a couple shots on target tonight?
Yeah, what Chris gives you is work rate, effort, winning flicks, winning aerials. He's got some decent speed. Now it's the challenge is to take a deep breath around the goal, slow down when you have that little one-on-one and maybe lift the ball over the goalie or take it by him and dribble the goalie and maybe he takes you down for a PK. So those are the quality in and around the goal is something that he's still growing. He's what I would call a late bloomer. He developed late in college, so has some good tools, but we have to work with that finishing, the ball striking, even the one that he cuts to his left foot. I actually think he can take another touch because he beat the defender so bad. Instead, he hits a slow roller to the goalkeeper. Get yourself closer. Maybe even put on your right foot. The header that he has is close. That goes off the bar early. So close, but still has to work on that quality in front of goal.
And final question, we'll go to Joe Tanzi.
Jim, I know you talk all the time about the fine margins and making your own luck, and Bizo earning that penalty is kind of a case of that. You guys jumped from 6th to 4th in the live table with how things are in the East right now. How important is just that one instance of doing the right thing, making a run in the box, and creating his own luck there?
Yeah, look, little moments become big moments. Just like our game against Cincinnati, there's 4 or 5 in there that if we have a killer instinct, we can kind of end the game, and we don't. They had an instance tonight where Jonesy has a good look where he could make it 3-1 and then the game's over. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about us being in 4th. So these margins are really, really tight, guys. There are good teams in the league. There's no team that is so good that we can't step on the field and beat them. And that's a good thing. Conversely, though, if we're not up for it, we can get beat by literally any team in this league. So, the margins are so tight. The points are at a premium. So any point on the road is still a good point. I know it's not a great performance from us tonight, but it's still an important point. And now we go back to home where, you look at the amount of games we have left and the amount that are in our building. Yes, they're against great teams, but I like our chances in our building. We always find ways to get results. Wins and draws at this stage are important.